get to the chopper, and out of the cinema, because this is not a good film. So The Predator, 2018, directed by Shane Black. I'm just going to say it right now, it is not a good film. There is so much wrong with this film, it pains me as a Predator fan. So the basic plot for this film is a child played by Jacob Tremblay accidentally activating some homing beacon for predators to come down on Earth to find. A whole lot of mess happens. A group of ex-military force / mercenaries are in the middle of it. They end up grouping together as a ragtag team of rogues to eventually save the day. In terms of the overall theme, it has some, I will say that marginally some similarities to the original, i.e. the group of people and a predator, but that is pretty much it. The amount of things that don't work in this film are quite staggering. In terms of symbolism, in terms of the first film, trying to get this group of people that are mercenaries, ex-military, to compare to the original group just simply doesn't work. You've got a lead character, for the majority of the part, doesn't feel like he is giving anything other than just a standard soldier role to the film. You've got the rest of the group that don't really seem to care about the situation that they're in. There seems to be a lot going on, enough to make any normal person absolutely terrified, but these group of people just constantly just make jokes about it, and making jokes consistently throughout the film as well, which brings me to my point about this film of, I don't believe that this film is a sci-fi thriller. I believe it's more of a failed comedy, because there seems to be a lot of comedic flows throughout this film. Some of them work, don't get me wrong, there are a few funny bits, some unintentionally funny bits. Shout out to one of my funniest moments of 2018, where Jacob Tremblay wears the Predator mask. Probably the funniest thing I've seen all year. But a lot of the humour is extremely forced, very offensive, as would be with Shane Black with his dark comedy, but it just isn't funny. And I'm unsure why that he chose to take this direction for the film, because it just doesn't sit and keep with a Predator film. I think there was one part in the film where Olivia Munn, who plays a scientist in the film, is having to go through a decontamination chamber whilst a predator is destroying people in another room, and coming to find her, she has to get undressed to go through this contamination chamber, as you do, and the predator is stalking her from afar. That was about the only kind of suspenseful scene within the entire film, and in keeping with a Predator movie. The rest of it is utter garbage. I'm at a loss of words to understand why this film took so many wrong turns for the way that it turned out. The casting is okay. You've got a couple of people in there that are completely and utterly wasted. Sterling K. Brown in particular, I think he has a lot of charisma. He seems to have a presence when he's in the film, whereas in this film, he's just a generic bad guy. He's got a few one-liners here and there that make you snigger a little bit. Other than that, generic bad guy. And Thomas Jane, for some reason, is in this film. Who even knew that Thomas Jane was around? I didn't know. Did you? Did you? What was the last thing he did? Punisher? Deep Blue Sea? Who knows? But he was in this film, and he plays a guy with Tourette's. I don't know why he plays a guy with Tourette's. It makes no sense why he would need Tourette's or why he has Tourette's, other than the fact that he swears when he shouldn't do and says inappropriate things over and over and over and over and over. And you get the picture here. That's pretty much what it was like in the film. It was just boring. There was nothing to that character at all other than a cheap laugh here and there. Again, unsure as to why that was absolutely needed. Jacob Tremblay plays a child, again with a disability. There seems to be a theme going in this one. Is quite clearly autistic. And they used this disability as a reason to progress the narrative of the story, to say that the predators are looking for the next step in evolution from humans, which they believe this character is due to his autism and what he can do as a result of this autism. At the start of the film, they weigh in quite heavily on this autism, whereas towards the end of the film, it's almost kind of like it's completely gone and he doesn't have it at all. So it doesn't flow at all or keep the character in character at all. It just seems that it's used for shock value. It's used for a reason to have this child bullied at school. Other than that, he can read alien as well for some other known reason. I don't know, I'm not autistic, but any people that are autistic out there, can you read alien? I don't think I know any autistic people that can read alien, but apparently he can. The ending of this film is one of the most ridiculous things I think I've seen in cinema for a very, very long time. There is an ending that seems to be chopped together and put together in the space of maybe 5 minutes, then put on there, and is just utterly baffling and ridiculous, and it's actually laughable. I think there was a few moments in this film where I actually did laugh out loud, unintentionally, but I did laugh out loud because of how utterly ridiculous this is. When I then realised that this film, from what I heard, they did early testings of this film and then reshot quite a lot of it. That's quite clear within this film after knowing that. Something didn't feel right when watching the entire film. It felt like it was all rushed. The editing was all over the place. You couldn't really tell what was going on. Then to know that they did a lot of reshoots and pretty much reshot the last third of the film completely makes sense due to Shane Black's casting of a known sex offender. A lot of it was reshot, and as a result, we got the garbage fire that is this film. The predator itself, or the predators, that's not a spoiler, there is a larger predator in the trailers. I don't understand why there needs to be one smaller, normal sized predator and one super predator. We already know that the smaller or normal sized predator is a very capable killing machine, as we've seen in many of the other predator films before this. The need for a second larger predator is... I don't understand why there is a need for a larger predator, other than just to, again, for shock value and to show how the ridiculous plot story can continue. The Dogaters, let's call them Dogaters, were in the film for 5 minutes. One of the Dogaters seems to just act as nothing other than for people to go, ah, and it seems a bit sad, really, because you could have there is quite a lot of potential with an animal that is a predator other than just a predator. However, they don't really use these creatures to their full potential in the slightest, really. In terms of the chemistry of the actors, there is none at all, not even between a father and a son, not between a weird bromance, not between any of the characters at all. And considering all the things that have happened behind the scenes, it's not at all surprising that this is the way that the end result has come out, really. I'm just really disappointed more than anything. I was really looking forward to this film. I thought that if anyone could do it, someone that was in the original film would be able to do it. And we know Shane Black has had a few good films. The Nice Guys in particular, I really, really like that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, although it was a while ago, I really, really enjoyed that as well. And we know he's had a few failures as well. I won't mention them. Iron Man 3. Don't know what happened there, sorry. So we know that he can make some flops. This, in my opinion, is actually worse than my worst Shane Black film, which is Iron Man 3. It doesn't make sense. The plot is ridiculous, the characters are wooden, everything down to the thought and the execution of this film just doesn't work for me. There are, I would say, a few good moments of the film, what you would associate with a good Predator film, such as the gratuitous violence. You would expect that from a Predator film. This has that in abundance. Some of the action scenes are okay. A lot of them are chopped and edited up to the point where you can't really understand what's going on. And the final third of the film, there are some good moments in there. Although it was reshot, there are some good moments in there, but for the main part was pretty bad. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone unless you were wanting to kill some time, go see a film that makes no sense and is just mind-numbingly dull. I was astounded, really, at how bad the film actually was. It might be someone's cup of tea. I don't know whose cup of tea that will be. Maybe some of you out there, it's your cup of tea. Let me know why you like bad tea. I personally don't. I'm going to give this film a 1 out of 10. If I could give it a 0 out of 10, I would. Damn! But because there were a couple of things in there, a couple of one-liners and a couple of bits of action that I was okay with, I'm going to give it the 1. Other than that, avoid this film at all costs unless you want to be offended on every single level. That's it for the review today. Leave a comment in below. Have you seen the film? Let us know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Do you think some of the points are valid? Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you like the video as well. Thanks, guys.